Hey everybody, Aaron Chandra of Lead Gen Pros here, and in this video we're going to be going over the 11 biggest mistakes that I see realtors make when running Facebook ads and what to do instead. Now be sure you stick around to the end of this video because if you make even one of these mistakes, it can jeopardize your Facebook ads. So let's get right into it. And this is in no particular order, by the way, so number one is boosting your Facebook posts. So if your goal is to generate leads, you never want to boost your posts because, yeah, you might get some engagement in terms of views, likes, and maybe a comment or two, but you're not actually able to collect any contact info. And more often than not, if you're just, boosting a regular Facebook post of, hey, I got a new listing, there's no call to action, right? So nothing saying, hey, check out my website, fill out this form, and so forth. So if your goal is to generate leads, what you're going to want to do instead is use leads as your campaign objective. And in terms of what that looks like, actually, here I have a test campaign. But if you're creating a campaign, your campaign details should be leads. And I've made different videos on that too, so check out my channel and you'll get a good idea of what to run there. But in terms of why you should use leads campaigns or leads as your objective campaign campaign objective is because it allows you to collect contact info in terms of names, emails, phone numbers. You can choose targeted interests and the location. So you have a lot more control of who your ad is actually being shown to. All right. Mistake number 2 is not selecting the housing category. Now this one seems really obvious, but I jumped on a call recently with a realtor who was like, hey, my ads keep getting rejected. And I was like, okay, well, what you're going to do is whenever you're running an ad for real estate, it's a special ad category. So you must select the housing category here. If you don't, your ads will get rejected. And if this happens enough times, your ad account actually risks getting banned. So that's a really straightforward one, super obvious for most people, but for some it's not. So what to do instead? Select the housing category, right? Now, mistake number 3 is actually running campaigns with too little ad spend. I've seen some realtors trying to run ads at $5 a day, and they're saying, Aaron, I'm not seeing much traction with Facebook ads. Facebook ads don't work. And no, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, Facebook ads do work, but you're not giving your ad campaign enough budget to actually exit the learning phase. So when your budget is too low, Facebook actually doesn't get enough data to know who to actually show your ads to. So yeah, it might work, but you'll get results very, very slowly to the point where it's not even worth it to even run ads. So maybe get a deal or two or save some money up, and when you have some funds to invest, I suggest you run your ads at a minimum of $20 per day per campaign. If you know what you're doing, you could probably get by with a little bit less than that, maybe $15 a day. But really, I don't typically go under $20. And the reason is that you'll get results faster, and your ads will have enough traction to really exit the learning phase there. So that's mistake number 3. And as kind of a side note there too, a couple people have mentioned to me, hey, I get the notice that says your ads may get 0 leads or conversions. You can ignore that. In most cases, that's Facebook just wanting you to increase your ad spend. As a test, increase your ad spend and see if that notice goes away. It likely will, so feel free to ignore that. No need to increase your budget based on that. Okay, mistake number 4 is going too broad on location targeting. So when you're running ads in the Facebook ad category, or the housing category rather, the minimum radius you can run your ads at is 25 kilometers for us Canadians and 15 miles for those in the US. But really, if you have a location call out in your ad copy, which you should, and we'll talk about that today as well, that's something saying like, hey, Vancouver homeowners, right? And your radius is too broad, like say it's 50 kilometers. If you say, hey, Vancouver homeowners, and your ad's being shown in another city like Surrey, Richmond, or Delta, it's going to be falling on deaf ears, right? If you say, hey, Vancouver homeowners to somebody in Abbotsford, which is, a city far away, they may not resonate with your ad, right? So keep your location targeting tight to the city that you're actually running ads in, right? Okay, mistake number 5. This is actually a really big one I see all the time when we do our free Facebook ad audits for realtors. So people just go too specific with detailed targeting. And maybe I'll dive in and show you what that is here. So if you go to your ad set, right? At the very bottom, you're going to have a detailed targeting option. I see some people put like the most specific things, right? Like real estate, realtor, property, property investing, they have HGTV as an interest, right? Homes on homes as an interest. And you really don't need to go that specific. All that's doing is really decreasing the potential audience that Facebook could show your ad to. So really what you should be doing is definitely do include some detailed targeting, but you don't need to go ham and add like 10, 15. I've seen people who have 25 plus different detailed targeting options, and you really don't need to do that, right? Facebook's algorithm is really good at finding the right people to show your ad to. So what you can do instead is use a couple broader interests, right? So you could do something like real estate property, maybe Zillow, or maybe mortgage calculator, right? Those are 2 or 3 that I kind of defer to, depending on the type of ad we're running. Single family detached is another good one, right? But it's really funny. I've actually split tested. I split test in almost every realtor's market that we work with. I'll split test open targeting, which is actually no interest at all. And if you get enough data, Facebook's algorithm is actually good enough that, typically once you'll exit the learning stage, it'll just know, who the best people to show your ad to is, even if you don't have any targeting selected, right? So you may not even need to use targeting, depending on your experience split testing in your specific market. But in most cases, keep it broad with a couple interests, and you should be good to go. Mistake number 6 is just playing with the placements when you don't know what you're doing. So if you're new to Facebook ads, just stick with advantage placements. Typically in my experience, feeds typically perform the best, Facebook feeds specifically, right? So I'll go manual placements, reduce everything, and I'll actually show you here. Why don't I do that? So for most people, just use advantage placements. If you're a little bit more experienced, and depending on the type of ad you're running, whether it's a static image or a video on the front end, you can change that a little bit, right? You don't want to just pick random stuff, which I've seen some people do, and I'll say, hey, well, why did you select the stories and reels? I don't know. I thought it would perform well, right? So something I'll typically do, depending on the ad, is I'll do Facebook feed, Instagram feed, sometimes Instagram Explorer, and I'll keep it at that. Right, it's super simple, but I've also split tested and have a lot of data to kind of back that up. So if you don't want to do that, that's totally cool. Just select advantage placements, and Facebook will find out over time where the best place to show your ad is going to be. And then what you can actually do is in the detailed settings. Let me show you that too, actually, so you know what I'm talking about here. All right, I had to pause that there to not disclose client info, but I'm in my own personal ads manager here, and I'm running some ads for my own agency right now. So if you actually go to your campaign level, right, you can go to your reports. Not reports, just to the left of that, and you can actually select placement. So what you can do here is you can actually see, hey, where's my ad being shown if you're using AP, Advantage Placements, and you can see specifically, hey, how many leads I'm getting, what the reach is, what the frequency is, what the cost per result is, depending on that placement method or that placement, right? So really no need to guess here, right? Facebook has a plethora of data that you can pull from. So again, just use advantage placements, see what performs the best for you, and then once you kind of know what that is, then when you're running a future campaign, go back, use manual placements in terms of your experience split testing, right? Now I use the word split testing there, and that's actually that's probably one of the biggest things I see realtors making in terms of just not split testing, period, right? So a split test is, I think, one of the things that separates a realtor running their own ads versus an agency or versus somebody who has a little bit more experience. In terms of what a split test is, it's basically running the same ad copy with a different graphic, or same graphic with a different targeting method or different detailed interests, right? Because certain interests and certain targeting may work well in one city, but they might not work well in another area, right? So just because you're watching this video and I say something and another agency says something else, and your realtor friend says something else, doesn't mean you have to believe any of us, right? What you should really do is split test and see what works best for you, especially with an industry like real estate, because there are so many variables, like the city you're running in, economic factors, interest rates, and so forth, right? So if you guys think split testing would be helpful, let me know in the comments, and I can make a video on that as well. So mistake number 8 is no location or demographic call out. Now this one seems really straightforward to I think a lot of people, but keeping in mind when you're running Facebook ads, they're geographically targeted, right? So what that means is if you're a local realtor in Idaho, I don't even know the geography of Idaho. Say you're a local realtor in Toronto, right? You're running ads specifically in Toronto. People in that area are going to see your ad, right? If you're in Northern Ontario somewhere, I don't even know the geography of Ontario. I don't know why I said that. But if you're somewhere far away and you say, hey, Toronto, and the person's nowhere near Toronto, that's not going to resonate with them, right? But if they are in Toronto, or maybe they're in a suburb of Toronto, like Vaughan or Kitchener or Woodbridge, whatever the area is, if you say, hey, Woodbridge, that's going to resonate a little bit better with somebody, right? Because you just called them out. So take it one level further and don't just use a location call out, use a demographic call out as well, right? So, hey, Vancouver, not just hey, Vancouver home buyers, or hey, Toronto homeowners, right? And this is especially helpful, especially if you remember we spoke about targeting. If you're using open targeting and you have good ad copy that caters to whoever the person is you're trying to reach, that can help filter out some of the garbage leads too, right? Like if you say, hey, Toronto homeowners and I'm just renting, okay, well, that ad's not for me. I'm not going to click it, right? So really simple here. Just make sure you're using a location and demographic call out in any ad that you run on Facebook. Number 9, this one's huge. Not having a call to action or a CTA, right? So in your ad copy, right, if you have you're giving away a list of homes or a custom homes list or a free home evaluation, at the end of your ad, you should have a quick note that says, hey, click the link below to learn more, or click learn more below to claim your custom home evaluation. Very simple, but people need to be told what to do, right? If they see your ad for a free homes list, oh, that's cool, now what? What do I do, right? You need to tell people, right? So in this case, use a CTA at the end of your ad. If you're doing video ads, really important. If somebody watches your video, you need to say, hey, click the link below to learn more. I've had clients run video ads and I've had to say, hey, I need you to redo this because you don't have a CTA. That's probably in addition to the beginning of the video, the CTA at the end is probably the second most important thing, right? Amongst many other factors. Number 10. So not using qualifying questions on your lead form. So me personally, I don't really run lead form ads for any of our clients. Actually, right now, we only use funnels. The reason we don't use lead form ads for the most part is because lead forms will autofill your client information. So what that means is if somebody filled out their information on another form and then they come to your ad, right, and Facebook will autofill the information they had entered previously. So if they entered fake information, that same fake info will populate on your lead form. And what that typically results in is a lot of people getting fake info. So we used to do this like way back, and realtors would say, well, hey, Aaron, I'm getting 100 leads, whatever, but 70 of them have fake info, right? We don't want our realtors talking to fake people, right? So that typically is a byproduct of running lead form ads regardless. What you can do to eliminate that a little bit is ask some pre-qualifying questions, right? So it doesn't have to be anything too detailed, but it's really just something to get the prospect to stop and actually think about what they're filling out. Because if you're running a lead form with no pre-qualifying questions, you can literally tap twice and it'll autofill your information. So what happens is then now you're getting a realtor that says, hey, how'd you get my number? I didn't fill that out. Like my kid took my phone, right? Whatever excuse there to say, oh, I didn't fill that out. I don't want to talk to you, realtor. You're going to try and sell me shit, right? So what to do instead, ask some pre-qualifying questions. But really like what you actually should be doing here, and if you need some help doing this, maybe I can make a video on it. But ideally, you should be taking your prospect off of Facebook, right? Take them onto a funnel or a landing page. Like Go High Level is a great one. That's what we use. ClickFunnels is another fantastic one. But if you take them off of Facebook, they don't have the option to autofill their information. So they're actually going to have more intent because they manually have to fill out their name, email, phone number, and maybe you're asking pre-qualifying questions on top of that to really increase your lead quality, right? And lastly, mistake number 11 is no call to action on the lead form submission. So if you're still running lead forms, which most realtors running their own ads just use lead forms because they're really easy to set up, they don't have a call to action on the lead form submission. And I'll show you actually what that looks like here. Let me pause. All right, we're back inside my ads manager in terms of one of the ads I'm running right now. So in this case, I have a lead form here. Probably will change this to a funnel at some point, but it's working well for us right now. I've been kind of lazy, to be honest with you. So we have a couple quick questions, right? It's nothing really even serious that I actually honestly really care about. It's just for something to kind of pause and say, okay, how long have I been practicing real estate? Oh yeah, 18 years, right? They'll think and pause for a second, right? Click next, fill in your contact info, review the info, slide to submit. And in this case, I see a lot of realtors not having a call to action on the actual form itself, right? So it'll say, thanks for filling this submission out. You may now leave the form, whatever, right? But we actually have another call to action that says, hey, click the link below to guarantee an appointment with us, right? And you click here, and it'll actually go to my Calendly page where a realtor can now book inbound with us. And I actually track these numbers very, very detailed, right? So I know actually specifically it's like 63.8, almost 64%. So say just about 6 in 10 people who actually claim our ad will actually book an inbound appointment with me, right? So the same can happen for our realtors, right, where you have a call to action such as your booking page. So at the very least, instead of them clicking off, you can actually get them to book inbound. So not only are you getting inbound leads, but you're also getting inbound booked appointments. Now this video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would. I'm kind of rambling a little bit. But if you made it this far, I am offering a free 30-minute Facebook ad audit, depending on how many people see this video and how many of you guys hit me up. So if you're struggling with your Facebook ads, shoot me an email. Happy to help you out. Or if you're a realtor who's looking to grow your business and want to learn how we can generate more listings for you, shoot me an email here and be sure to subscribe for more valuable real estate content. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.